So, Gretchen, there's a topic we haven't broached yet.
How you seem to only own one pair of jeans?
You've been so focused on Jimmy's dad. Has that stirred up any feelings about your father?
Nope.
What about your mom? Have noticed some tension around the subject?
Tension? My mom's a baller-ass boss. End of story. Did you see Wheel last night? Someone almost hit the $1 million wedge. I remember when they brought that out in '08. I was like, what? That is nuts.
So, would you say she's controlling, manipulative?
If I biffed a tennis match, she would take away my sheets and pillows. But that is what made me strong. My friends had chill parents who didn't push them, and now they're all unmotivated babies.
Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Congratulations, you are on one of the best shows on TV. You're the Worst is amazing.
Why, thank you. The last time I saw you, you had a ball gag in your mouth.
That is true. The last time you did see me, I had a ball gag in my mouth. We'll leave that unexplained for all of you out there. Because it would take too long to explain it.
It would take too long to explain, but I just wanted to leave it there
better.
and then let you start the interview.
And wait, can we just say, I just want to say this. And I was thinking about this at my desk a minute ago. The last time you saw me, I had a ball gag in my mouth, and today you see me and I had a cock cage in my hand.
Yeah.
Because of the last episode of the show. And I randomly have a.
And he just went out and bought one. It's really weird.
Can I just say, on a personal level, this isn't even for the interview. That's not me. I'm not that guy. Let's talk about You're the Worst instead of my sexual fantasies. When you signed on to the show, did you expect it to go any of the places that it's gone? Because it's one of the most daring comedies on television.
I mean, I didn't expect it to go anywhere, considering most of my career. I have done a lot of failed pilots and such, so I never look very far ahead. I had no idea. I don't think any of us did. I don't think the writers did either. I think they got together for season 2 and were like, okay, that went well last year, now how do we push it further? And I think they do that every year, so.
But the way that they push it further is not by sort of like, how do we involve them in worse situations, or how do we make them look worse? It's how do we explore more what makes them the worst?
Yeah, and I think also for a comedy, it just goes to some unexpected places because it gets very, very dark at times, and people aren't used to seeing that in their comedies. I think that's changing, obviously. I think we're not the only show to go there, but yeah, they push it to all sorts of new levels.
Now, one of the things that's sort of been, that people discuss a lot are the sex scenes on the show, which are fairly graphic for cable television. I'm always, when sex scenes happen on the show, I still kind of go, oh, I didn't know that you could do this on cable. Do you have the same experience when you're shooting them?
Yeah, I mean, I think cable drama, you're used to seeing it. I think it's just the fact that it's a comedy that changes things for people, or it's unexpected. There's a thing. On FX, you can show butt, and I said, but you can't show my butt. So that's basically the...
Wait, is that true?
Yeah.
So you can show male butt, but you can't show...
You can show female butt, you just can't show Aya Cash's butt. That's my contract. But yeah, they're very graphic. It's all simulated nudity. I'm wearing like pasties and a stick-on thong, and they CGI some stuff out. But it's pretty intense to shoot. It's definitely the most intense sex scenes I've ever done. But it all seems to make sense in the show. And when they come up, it's for a reason. Like season 3 starts with a very graphic sex scene because season 2 was all about Gretchen's depression, and they were completely unconnected. And now that she's come out, she's sort of having more connection with him sexually and otherwise.
And in that sex scene, what I loved about that sex scene at the beginning of season 3 is there's a conversation happening throughout the whole sex scene where they're sort of discussing, I believe, their orgasms and when they happen and how they happen, but it seems so much more realistic. I mean, maybe couples don't talk that much while having sex, but at the very least, they're sort of exploring where they're at sexually with each other at this point in their relationship.
Yeah, I mean, my husband and I, it's just our grocery list. Bananas, apples. No.
Abstract grocery list.
Salami. Sorry.
Got
I'll
it.
stop
Sorry,
just yelling out food.
All of those sounded oddly sexually apropos.
I guess. You can make anything. Anyway, no, but it's true that sex is not like, every moment is not like the sexiest moment you've ever seen, and like a biting of the lip and a grabbing of the sheets the way that you see a lot of sex scenes. So it's nice that it's sort of interspersed with some reality.
Well, very few of the sex scenes on the show are sort of intentionally sexy. I would never go so far as to say that they're not sexy. I think anytime some people are naked on camera, you're kind of like, with the exception of a tragedy of some kind, anytime people are naked on camera having sex, you're kind of like, there's something sexy about it. But at the very least with this, there's humor, there's sadness, and there's pathos to all
Yeah,
of the
and it's not titillating. It's not like something, like if you're looking for something for your spank bank, there's much better stuff out there.
At this point, what would be the purpose of making anything for anybody's spank bank unless you're making pornography? There's already so much of it.
Yeah, I don't know. But people do, right? Like, I wondered, like, do kids still like stop on movies and what, like when I was a kid, like the porn was all scrambled and you'd like be searching for a boob or something in the scrambledness, or you'd watch USA Up All Night. That was like sexy.
There was at least an element of what was, and I guess maybe right is the wrong word, but what was sort of like allowed and what wasn't allowed, in the sense that it was scrambled, so you were trying to see through the scramble to look at what was bad. You were trying to see through something on USA Up All Night to sort of see what was known as bad. Yeah. Now it's just what's bad. It's just like,
yeah, you can just get it real quick. So, yeah, I guess nobody's masturbating to us was the point of this conversation.
And thank God for that.
Please, no one disagree with me.
One guy raises his hand.
Thanks.
I guess you can stay for the rest of this. So when you go into season 3, after season 2, where it was a lot about Gretchen's depression, what were you expecting for season 3? Do they approach you with sort of where they're going to take Gretchen in this season? Did they have a sort of an arc that they wanted to hit?
No, I mean, they tell us very little. We get scripts right before we start shooting, and I learn along with everyone else what's going to happen. And I have ideas sometimes, but they're usually wrong, so there's sort of no point.
What's an idea that you got right or wrong?
I for Gretchen's backstory, I said she was like one of 7 adopted sisters. Like she has 7 and lesbian mom, like 2 moms, and all, like she's just surrounded by women at all times. Mainly because I just wanted to cast all my friends on the show,
like and
I didn't want them all to have to be white. So I was like, great, we're all adopted, and we can have a great time together. That didn't happen. I have a pitch for next season, which I can't give away because it gives a spoiler, but so that will definitely not be happening next season. If I have the idea, it generally doesn't happen.
Do you go to the writer's room and essentially and try to pitch it and be a part of that?
No, but I'll say something to Steven or one of the writers. And casting, I do that all the time because I'm, again, trying to get my friends jobs because God knows it is hard to get a job. So, but now I've learned not to tell Steven who my friends are. Like, just get them the audition and then let him decide. And if he's like, what do you think about? And I'm like, she's great. And because if I get too excited, he's like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna choose this other person.
He won't hire someone just because they're your friend?
No, but I mean, what he says to me is, he's like, whatever's best for the show. So he's not gonna, there's no nepotism, there's no favoritism. But I did have some friends on this year, which was fun.
You said that you've been a part of so many pilots that haven't worked out. Like most actors and actresses, who are working, they take part in pilots that don't work out. But does it feel like the one that did work out is sort of the meatiest role that you could have had out of any of those pilots? Because there is no other show like this, and I can't imagine that there are several pilots similar to You're the Worst that are being developed.
I lucked out. I mean, I can't imagine some of the crap that I was like desperate to get. I was like, God, I just wish I could be on insert terrible show about terrible, horrible, nice girl and slutty girl, and the sort of typical tropes of what female roles were. That I was just like, pick me, pick me. So it's true because I want a job. I was a waitress for 5 years. It's you don't get to be picky. And I'm just very lucky to work. So to get to do something that I actually think is really good and get really excited about, and I trust the writing so much, is like, I mean, if I was religious, I'm Jewish. I don't know why I'm making that, but lapsed in everything. My mom's a Catholic. That works, right? Probably doing it wrong.
No,
Cue the trolls.
I think that's
yes?
right. I think that's right.
Yeah.
I went to Catholic school. I should know. I don't.
Yeah.
The scenes that you get to do as an actress, it's not just that the material is good for the viewer. I would imagine as an actress, there is so much that you get to sink your teeth into, that when you get these scripts, it's almost like a gift. You're kind of like, oh, I get to do this today? This is incredible.
Yeah, I mean, I never thought that I would sign on to do a sitcom and get to do the depression arc. You know, they surprise me, and I get, really nervous and then excited that I get to do something interesting. Even the sex stuff, I had never done it before on purpose, you know. I would have loved to be on Boardwalk Empire, but I wasn't going to take my clothes off, so that sort of gets rid of that.
Did that happen to you? Did you get an audition and then we're like, I don't want
They say in the breakdowns whether or not there's nudity required, so you can say no to things.
every female part in Boardwalk was like, there is nudity.
Basically. And I have no problem with nudity in general, and I have no moral issue against it. It was just something I chose not to do, and I do think it's my choice. It was one of those things where I was like, is this the thing that I want to do? And of course, it's not actual nudity, but it's pretty graphic. And I was like, yeah, I think it's really important to the story. And, I've played a lot of clothed prostitutes, though, so it's not like I'm above anything.
I don't think I've ever talked to an actress who hasn't had to play a prostitute, like in a movie or TV show at one point. Like I think there are more actresses who've had to play prostitutes and strippers in the world than there are actual prostitutes and strippers in the world at this point.
Probably. I mean, it's just one of those things. If you're a lady, just like if you're, not white, you end up having to play the sort of cliched roles that are out there. It's unfortunate that that's the world we live in, but hopefully it's changing.
It goes back to what you were saying before about having, like, sort of being desperate for these roles that actually weren't very good.
Yeah, and desperate because I didn't want to, say, do you want fries with that? Because that's, what I had to do instead of fake having sex on television. So
Gretchen is sort of recovering from the depression. Not necessarily recovering. The show talked about her depression in the last season. In this season, she's sort of in therapy, and she's sort of coming to terms with her mommy issues in the last episode, which was wonderful to see. What is your take on where Gretchen is right now?
I mean, I think Gretchen's in a really good place. I think, obviously Edgar's having a hard time, and you don't really want to watch everyone just completely collapse all in the same season. So she's kind of on an upswing and doing better, and she's really working at things. She might not be doing it the right way, but she is, I think, more active in her own recovery than she's ever been, and that's a really great place to be. And I think Gretchen's definitely sillier this year, which is fun juxtaposition from last year.
The reoccurring characters on the show have their roles as well just get deeper and deeper as it progresses. And the season premiere had one of the greatest endings I think I've ever seen on a show, which was one of the reoccurring characters whose name is escaping me, stabs her fiance.
Well, she's a regular.
She's a regular,
Yeah.
excuse me.
Lindsay, yeah.
Lindsay, yeah.
Yeah, so the quote-unquote
I'm mistaking
sidekicks.
reoccurring for regular.
Well, yeah, they're sort of the sidekicks, but also have like the most they're incredibly fleshed out, fully formed characters who even sort of talk about the fact that they might be sidekicks.
There's like a whole scene in an episode where they talk about
Yeah,
whether
there's a meta moment of that. So yeah, she stabs her husband. Now she's cucking him, which is having sex with people in front of him. I mean,
odd side
dark.
note, apparently the alt-right is obsessed with calling men cuckolds. Like, the racist alt-right that Donald Trump courts, they
Yeah.
apparently are obsessed with calling men cuckolds for some reason.
I don't understand any of that. There's a frog apparently too. That's the racist frog.
A racist anti-Semitic frog or
I
something.
can't even begin to talk about what's happening in our world right now. Not if you don't want me to cry. Vote.
I'm sorry, don't-
Everybody, vote. Can I put this up to the mic? Vote.
Vote and don't vote Trump. Vote and don't vote Trump.
It's pretty insane.
You had a part in Wolf of Wall Street, which was amazing, and I was going over some clips of you in the movie just recently, and you were the assistant with a filthy mouth. How did you get that part, and what was it like working on that set? I think last time I talked to you, you said you were just there for like 4 months.
Yeah, I was there for 2.5 months. And I just auditioned. I mean, I just went in and auditions, and they had you improv, because there was maybe 3 lines to that character, and they were like, we just want to play. And then I got a call saying I got the job and I'd have to miss my wedding. And I was like, I'm not that much of a garbage person. I'm sorry, I can't do it. I'm gonna go to my wedding. And then they wrote me out of the scene that was my wedding. So I had my wedding, and then I went and shot Wolf of Wall Street, like 3 days later.
They knew you were having the wedding, and they said you're going to have to miss your wedding to be in the movie?
Well, it was just the dates. I mean, it's a huge, it's like $100 million movie, and I say 9 words in it. They're not going to change filming for me. And I was in one of the scenes that was shooting on my wedding day, and they were like, well, and I was like, well, if I can't go to my wedding, I can't do the movie. And they were nice enough to let me out for my wedding. But some people, look, that's the reality, is like some people choose work over everything, and I think that's a really unhealthy way to live.
What were the 2.5 months like while you were on the set of that movie?
Incredible. I mean, I got to hear so many amazing stories. You know, apparently Rob Reiner shoots like 8-hour days, which if you're in the business is unheard of. We shoot 12 to 14-hour days on You're the Worst, and some dramas shoot 17-hour days. So he was talking about that and what it was like to make When Harry Met Sally. Jon Favreau was on set talking about being nervous to meet Martin Scorsese, and I was like, but you're John. Oh yeah, everyone's nervous to meet Martin Scorsese.
Were you nervous to meet him?
Yeah, of course. There is a thing that happens while you're shooting, which is the best thing. Like any of us go to work and things normalize. So if you're working with Martin Scorsese, all of a sudden you're still aware that he's Martin Scorsese, but he's also just someone you're working with.
Just trying to do his job too.
Exactly, and you just don't want to fuck that up. Screw that up.
You can swear.
Okay, fuck that up, because let's be honest, sometimes you need that word to explain how you're feeling. So yeah, it was incredible, and getting him to laugh is such a joy. And
he's a big giggler behind camera, isn't he?
He laughs easy, and that's so nice. I think he knows how scary he is to people, and he just wants everyone to be comfortable and have a good time. He really wants people to have a good time. Like, it was a really fun set.
Were you nervous doing scenes with Leo?
Not really. There's just certain people who like freak me out and certain people who don't. I mean, he is a true movie star in the fact that he is just got that air about him. Like, he's so smart and he works so incredibly hard, and he's really nice to everyone. Kyle Chandler, I was like crying when I met. There's just like certain people who like flip that crazy celebrity thing in me, and some people who don't. And
who do you have? You have Kyle Chandler. Who else flips?
Almost everyone from Friday Night Lights. Like, my goal at a party is to not freak out on a Friday Night Lights cast member, because I've done it to so many of them.
Who have you done it to?
I did it.
Which of the more supporting Friday Night Lights cast members have you freaked out on?
Well, I freaked out on Adrienne Palicki pretty hardcore, like enough that
She's pretty incredible, though.
Yeah, she was really like, what is wrong with this girl? We were at ATX, and there was an entertainment writer who knows I love Friday Night Lights, and was like, do you want to meet her? And I was like, yes, I do. And I went up to her, and I like started like jumping. Like, I don't know, I was like so excited. I just started jumping around her, and I was like, oh my God, oh my God. And she sort of gave me the side hug, which is the like, oh my God, like security. Like, I'll touch you, but like off to the side so you can't see my face, so that I can look and get help. And I mean, she's so tall and I'm so small too. It was just like, I think maybe I was trying to jump up to her face, because she had a tall drink of water.
Trying to show her that you were there.
Hi.
So anyone from Friday Night Lights, that's your show?
Yeah, and I'm trying to think, it's mostly women. Like, I freaked out when I met Jenny Slate. Came up to me once because her show was airing after my show, and the premiere just aired, and she was like, hey, I like your show. And I was like, oh my God, you're a friend in my head. And she was like, clearly doesn't watch Wendy Williams, but she just sort of, again, was like, oh, that's so sweet, as she backed away. I like the ladies. I find myself more intimidated by ladies, and Kyle Chandler.
Kyle Chandler's the only non-lady that you're intimidated by.
Yeah. I can't
Isn't
think of a man that
intimidating?
like does that to me, except for Jesse Plemons. I have not gone up to. Like I've seen him around. I'm like, I can't. I know I won't be calm. Therefore, I'm not allowed to. It's like a puppy, right? You gotta like sit them down, calm them down before they approach the other dog. That's a little how I am with the Friday Night Lights crew. If I'm like calm enough, then I'm allowed to say hello. Anything else?
I'm going to open it up to the audience for questions. Right here.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, good. How are you?
Good. I was wondering, what's the vibe like on set as the seasons progress? Like, do you all like get closer as it goes compared to when you first started the show?
I mean, third season is notorious, right? Like that's when we all think we're hot shit and treat each other badly. That actually hasn't happened. We keep waiting. They always say that if you don't know who the asshole is, you're it. So I'm probably the asshole. We all love each other. We are just closer and closer, and also the recurring cast, getting to know them better because the more they come back, the more we get to hang out and. We're pretty ridiculously tight knit. Thank you.
Next question.
Hi, nice to meet
Hi,
you.
nice
so,
to meet
my question's like a two-part question.
Mm-hmm.
So, how comfortable are you right now with your career, and what are some of your goals that you want to achieve next?
I mean, I'd say, I always used to say, as long as I don't have to be a waitress, I feel pretty happy with my career. Like, just earning a living at this is amazing. I have friends who are 10 years older than me who still have to work day jobs because that's the reality. So I'm pretty happy. I mean, I don't have a lot of specific goals. I don't want to say like, oh, I want to be in like a Hunger Games type movie. I mean, I'm in my 30s. That ain't happening. So I just feel like as long as I get to keep working, and I'm producing now, so that's really my next goal.
What are you producing?
I'm producing a movie based on one of my mom's novels called Little Beauties. And we have a director, and we're about to go look for financing, which is a whole thing.
That's amazing. What prompted you to start producing, and what made you want to produce one of your mother's novels?
Well, I'm a lady, and I'm not 20, as we just learned. Shocking, I know. But as you get older, it just is going to be harder and harder to get roles, and that's the way our business works. So I'd like to create them for myself. It's not some sort of altruistic, like, I just want to tell stories. I want to be in interesting things, and I think you have to create your own. So I'm starting now so I can make some good work for myself later.
That's amazing. Do you find it daunting? Are you excited by it?
Completely. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm reading like, how to produce movies for dummies, and but I'm surrounding myself with people who do know what they're doing. And my husband's a producer, so he's helping me a little bit whenever I'm like, maybe I should do this, and he's like, that won't work at all. I'm like, great, thanks. Just let me know. And my mom's book. Has always been something that I thought would be fun. We initially were joking, I'd play the teenage girl in it when it was developed for someone else. And now I'm old enough to play the adult woman in it. So,
well, congratulations. That's so awesome that you're doing that.
Thank you.
I think we have time for one more question.
Hey,
Hi.
what was the audition like for this show, and have you had any really bad auditions in the past?
I'd say about 40% of my auditions are pretty terrible, and 60% are, no, I'd say, so 50% are good and then 10% are great. My audition for this was just a regular audition. I went in, I got a call back, I went in again, then I got a test, which is when I had to fly to LA and do a test for the network, and then I didn't get it. But they didn't release me from my hold. They hold you when they test you. And I was like, well, that's not gonna happen. The network said no, therefore I'm not gonna be in this show. And Steven was in the offices of Orange is the New Black because he was doing his episode in New York, so he flew out here and he retested me. And I was like, yeah, cool, good luck. I hope your show's great, I'll watch it, but like, you're not gonna convince a network. Because this has happened before. And
To
then
you?
Yeah, where like a creator is like, I want you for this role, and the network's like, no, and the network controls whether or not your show gets made, so you really don't have a choice. But the great thing about FX is they really support their creators. So Steven convinced them, said yes, and I've never felt like second fiddle since. I mean, FX has been really supportive of me since then and said that it was the right decision. And I actually think it's a testament to them that they let Steven cast me. My worst audition was a commercial audition. Those are the worst. Where, God, there's so many. But one of them was I had to come in and just start crying. And they just walked me in and they were like, sit down and cry. Which was very easy when I realized like this was whether or not I was gonna pay my rent.
That was the whole your whole role in the commercial was to just cry?
Yep.
What
They were like, they put on some music. I don't remember. Maybe an MTV promo. They were just like, put on some music and you're just gonna cry. I auditioned to be Scarlett Johansson's hair double once, and I said I'd shave my head. I mean, I was like, we need to make money. I said I've shaved my head before, so I was like, they like interview you on camera and then make you do like. And I was like, I'll do anything. I'll shave my head. It was like $2,000, a lot of money. So didn't get that one. There's many.
You didn't have to shave your head, so that's great.
I kind of want to. Like, my thing is, I like when for any sort of role you have to do something. Like, I like change, which is probably why I'm an actor, is because I get to go do a new job every couple months. So I would love to shave my head. Let's do it right now, guys. This is what we're doing. No, we're not doing it.
I mean, but as an actor, you do get to kind of do that. Every few months, you get to be sort of pretend that you're the master of something else, right?
Yeah.
You get to master a different trade, even though you may not know that much
I don't
about
speak Spanish. I had to learn a monologue in Spanish this year, and I was like, God, maybe I should learn Spanish now. You know, it gets you excited about some sort of new thing. I love traveling, too, and you get to go to different places. I just got back from Austin, Texas, and that was super fun. I've never been there.
Was that at the ATX Festival? Were you freaked out at the cast of Friday Night Lights?
That was last year at ATX. No, I did a movie in Austin. But I did go to Fantastic Fest, which I don't know if any of y'all know about, but that is the place to go. It's a crazy genre horror festival, and it's really fun. I almost won. We won the Satanic Panic Room, me and some friends. You're like, I don't care. I care.
What is the Satanic Panic Room?
It's like a panic room where you have to figure out how to get out. Like, they lock you in a room, and there's like a bunch of puzzles to get out. And we won, and we had the record until like the last day when some locals beat us. Anyway, this is what I'm promoting is and go to Fantastic Fest, guys.
You're the Worst airs what night? Wednesdays at 10?
Wednesdays at 10 on FXX, 1X below porn.
And it truly is the funniest show on television. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks
for having. Thanks for stopping by.